Hi everyone, myself Priyanka Vijay Kulkarni, and we'll see about the recombinant DNA technology second part. In this part, we'll see the different terms which are using in this RDT or recombinant DNA technology, that is the vector or host means what. Okay, so first we'll go for the vector. What is mean by the vector? Vector is nothing but your kind of the vehicle. Okay, means you have to carry the one thing from the one place, and we have to sold or we have to give that thing to the another place. For that kind we need a vehicle. So this is that type of the vector. Vector is nothing but the vehicle to carry the things from here and there. Okay, so here which kind of the things we have to carry, or which kind of the things the vector have to the carry, it has to carry the recombinant molecule. Okay, yes. So vector is nothing but the piece of the molecule which contain the genetic material that can be replicated, expressed and transformed into the another cells. So what is mean by the vector? It is a piece of molecule which has the genetic material, okay, which can be expressed or replicate when it is transformed into the another cells. This is known as the vector. So what are the ideal properties of the vector? Okay, how should be there is a vector? So there are some properties, useful properties, that vector must be small in size so that it can be manipulated into the lab. Okay, it must be small in size. Then second thing, it must be survive inside the cells. Yes, it is an important property. Okay, it must be survive inside the cells. It should contain the recognizable genetic marker or selectable marker. I'll told you what is mean by the selectable marker next. Yes, so it must contain the genetic marker or the selectable marker to select the particular cells. Yes, it ensures the genetic expression of the gene. And yes, these are the some properties, that it should be in small in size, then it should contain the selectable marker, it should be viable within the cells. These are the some ideal properties of the vector. What are the examples of the vector? There are the different kinds of the vector, like the plasmids. As I told you, plasmid means what? It is the extra chromosomal materials of the bacterial cells. So plasmid, then the lambda vector, then the different transposomes, then the viral genomes, then the cosmid, BAC, YAC. Okay, this can be act as a vector. This is a one example of the vector. Yes, what should be the features which are necessary in case of the ideal vector? First one is, it must have, first is it is small in size. Second, it must have the origin of replication. What is this ORI, origin of replication? It is a particular sequence from where the replication of the DNA is start. Okay, yes, so this origin of replication, it must be there. We have to replicate our recombinant DNA molecule, so it must be there in case of the ideal vector. Yes, then next thing, it should have the selectable marker. What is this selectable marker? Selectable marker is nothing but the one kind of the gene which helps in identifying and eliminating the non-transformed and the selectively permeating the growth of the transformant. Okay, you should know the difference between the non-transformant and the transformant. Yes, as we seen the process of the recombinant DNA technology, first of all will produce the recombinant molecule and transport into the host cell or the cells which are multiplying very fast. Okay, So we have to check that whatever our recombinant molecule or whatever our desired molecule is taken up by that host cell or not. Okay, if it is taken up by that host cell or the E. coli cell, we'll call it as a transformant. Okay, transformant means what? Our recombinant molecule is transformed into host cell, therefore it is called as the transformant. And non-transformant means what? The E. coli cells or the host cells are not able to take our recombinant molecule, means which lack our recombinant molecule, which does not have our recombinant molecule. Such a cell is known as the, or such a host is known as the non-recombinant molecule. Okay, got the difference between transformant and transformant and non-transformant? Yes. So selectable marker, it is a very important thing to identify the transformant and the non-transformant. And selectable markers means nothing but a gene, okay, which is means yes, it is a particular gene which is resistant to the particular antibiotic. Okay, antibiotic resistant gene, it is known as selectable marker, which is used to identify the transformant and the non-transformant. Yes, we'll see examples. If a recombinant DNA bearing a gene for the resistance to an antibiotic, that is the ampicillin, tetracycline or anything, any type of the antibiotic, is transformed into the E. coli cells, the host cell become the transformed into ampicillin resistant cells. Yes, got it? Means what? Whatever our recombinant molecule, if our recombinant molecule has a particular selectable marker, that is the ampicillin resistant or tetracycline resistant gene, and if we transferred our this molecule into the E. coli cell, then that E. coli cell, it has a plus property. That which plus property? It is a ampicillin resistant E. coli cells. So we can identify this is the transformed E. coli cells which carries our recombinant molecule. Yes, if we spread these cells on the agar plate which contained the ampicillin, okay, which is our gene ampicillin resistance, okay, means what? In the presence of ampicillin also the E. coli cells will grow. Yes, transformed E. coli cell will grow, and the non-transformed cell which don't have this plus property of ampicillin resistance, they cannot grow onto the media which contain the ampicillin. Due to the ampicillin, it is an antibiotic, okay, antibacterial, it can kill that bacteria which don't have the resistance, so that the non-transformed cell will be kill or will not grow on that media, only the transformed recipient cell will grow. Since due to the ampicillin resistance gene, one is able to select, or we can able to select the transformed cell in the presence of ampicillin. So this is called as the selectable marker. So in this case, which is the selectable marker? Yes, which is the selectable marker in this case? Ampicillin resistant gene is a selectable marker. Why? Because we can differentiate between the transformed and the non-transformed cell by using this property. Yes, here the example is given. Yes. Okay, yes, here we can see our plasmid molecule, and here there is a gene of interest. Okay, and this molecule is nothing but our recombinant DNA molecule. Why? Because it contains this our gene of interest and the plasmid molecule both. Okay, therefore it is recombinant DNA, and here there is only plasmid molecule, here only our gene of interest molecule, means there is a no ligation. Okay, and we transformed this three type of the plasmid or this three type of the DNA into the E. coli then what happened next? And if we grow on that E. coli and onto the medium which containing the ampicillin and the X-gal. X-gal is what? It is a substrate, okay, which gives the color compound after its degradation. So in this recombinant DNA molecule, what happened? In this recombinant DNA molecule, whatever our gene of interest is inserted in between the lag Z dash gene, so that the lag Z dash gene, okay, what is this lag Z dash gene? Lag Z dash gene, its code for the protein or the enzyme which can degrade the lactose molecule, or here what is our substrate? X-gal molecule. Okay, if there is a lag Z gene is present, then it can break down the X-gal and it gives the blue color colonies. Okay, here so in the recombinant DNA molecule, this lag Z dash gene is disturbed. Okay, due to its disruption, it cannot degrade this X-gal and it cannot use the blue color colony. Okay, in case of the recombinant DNA molecule, it gives the white color colony. Why? Because the lag Z dash gene is disturbed, okay, and due to its disturbs, it cannot degrade the X-gal and cannot give the blue color colony, so it gives the white color colony. In these two case, okay, in this two case, what happened? There is a no incorporation of the foreign DNA. Okay, so here the lag Z dash gene is complete, means there is a no disruption. In this both case, lag Z dash gene is intact. Okay, and due to it is intact, it can degrade the X-gal which is provided by us in the medium, and it will use the blue color colonies. Okay, yes. And what about ampicillin resistance? Ampicillin resistance is what? It is a selectable marker which is used to identify the transformed and the non-transformed. Yes. So which colonies will grow on, first of all, which will grow? Which are antibiotic resistant, that only grow, means which are the transformed colony. Okay, means here first the transformed colony only grow on this medium. Because why? Because it contained the ampicillin. Then second thing, the colonies turns blue, means whatever the blue color colonies, we can say that blue color colonies are of the E. coli which contained the non-recombinant molecule. Okay, non-recombinant molecule. And third, white color colonies. Okay, white color colonies, they are the our recombinant molecule. Yes, understood? First of all, whatever the colonies are grown over here, these all colonies are the transformed colonies. Okay, yes, because they grow on the ampicillin medium, therefore they are the transformed colonies. Then further identification, two types of the colonies are there, blue and white. Blue means what? Blue means which are the non-recombinant. Non-recombinant means what? Gene of interest is not inserted into the lag Z dash gene, therefore lag Z dash gene is functional, so it can degrade the X-gal and gives the blue color colony, so it is a non-recombinant. And recombination means what? Our foreign gene is inserted into that lag Z dash gene, so that this lag Z dash function is disturbed and it cannot degrade the X-gal, cannot give the blue color colony, so they are the white color colonies. Okay, so white color colonies are your recombinant molecule, or the E. coli which contain your recombinant molecule. Yes, next, cloning site. In order to link the foreign DNA or the alien DNA, we can call it as alien DNA, the vector needs to have the very few preferable single recognition site that commonly used by the restriction enzyme. Cloning site means nothing but the restriction sites. Okay, different examples of the vector, as I told you: plasmid, lambda vector, bacteriophage, cosmid, then bacterial artificial chromosome, yeast artificial chromosome, yak, yeast 2 micron, and then retrovirus, pachilovirus vector. These different types of the vectors are there. Okay, but the ideal property of vector should be remain same. Yes. Now what is mean by the host? I told you the little bit about the plasmid and lambda vector. Plasmid, it replicate along its host. Okay, and why plasmid is mostly used? Because it is a circular and they have the capacity to join to the eukaryotic cells. That's why the plasmid vector is probably used in the RDT. Lambda vector, vice versa, it is a replicate same as that of the lytic cycle, means which kill the host cells and pack DNA into the virus body. Okay, yes, so plasmid is a beneficial because it has capacity to join to the eukaryotic cells. Further, it contained the gene which enhance the survival of the organism. Okay, means it contain the selectable marker. Mostly the plasmid contain the gene which are required for the survival, like either by killing the other organism or by defending the host cell to producing the toxins. So plasmid is necessary. Then yes, host cell. What is mean by the host cell? Host cells are nothing but the here. Yes, host cells are nothing but the bacterial cells which can take the rDNA molecule. Host cell means what? It is nothing but the bacteria which can take up the your rDNA. It is known as the host cell. Now, competent host cell. What is mean by competent host cells? Competent cells means what? The E. coli cells or the any bacterial cells which are more competent to incorporate rDNA. Okay, if the cell wall are altered so that DNA can pass through easily, such a cell is known as the competent cells. Okay, means what? We have to introduce our rDNA into the bacterial cell. Okay, but bacterial cell cannot take directly that DNA. Yes, we have to make that host cell competent. Okay, so that it can easily take up the foreign or our rDNA, and such a cell or such a host is known as the competent host cell. DNA mostly it is a hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means what? Water loving. Okay, but what is the cell wall? What is the nature of cell wall or plasma membrane? It is basically made up of from the lipid bilayer, which is a hydrophobic, so that this hydrophilic molecule cannot easily pass through the plasma membrane or the cell wall. Okay, so in order to force that bacteria to take our plasmid, the bacterial cells must first make the competent to take up the DNA. Okay, and what is the procedure to make the host competent? Probably or mostly there is a one process which is known as the in this process the calcium chloride is used. Okay, CaCl2 plus heat shock is given to that E. coli cells so that their plasma membrane is permeable to take up this rDNA. Okay, yes, there are the different, this is the main method which I told you, using the calcium chloride and the heat shock treatment. Permeability of the E. coli cell membrane is increased to take up your foreign DNA or take up your recombinant DNA molecule. The next there are some methods like the electroporation. Electroporation means what? Here also the salt divalent cation such as the calcium is used, which increase the efficiency that the DNA can enter into the bacteria through the pores of the cell's wall, And yes, how it is done? It is done by using our recombinant DNA is forced in such a cells by incubating that cells with the recombinant DNA on the ice bag, which is followed by placing them onto the briefly at 420 Celsius, means heat shock. Okay, first of all it is placed on the ice bag, then use the heat shock, and then putting them back to the ice, so that it is a electrical shock is given to the cells, so that the cell wall or the plasma membrane it become the permeable to our recombinant DNA molecule. Next is a micro injection, means by using the micro injection directly our recombinant DNA is introduced into the host E. coli cell. Then the another method is the biolistics or the gene gun. Okay, in this case the whatever your host cells, okay, either it is plant cell, animal cell, or bacterial cell, these host cells it is bombarded with the high velocity microparticles of the gold and tungsten coated with our DNA. Means what is done over here, whatever our recombinant DNA molecule, okay, that recombinant DNA molecule is coated with the either tungsten or gold, or through the gene gun it is forced or bombarded to the our host cell. Okay, so that the host cell wall it become permeable and it can be taken the recombinant DNA molecule. Then the disarmed pathogen vector, okay, it is allowed to infect the cells and transfer the recombinant DNA host. These are the some methods to make the host cell competent. Okay, first method is what, by using calcium chloride and heat shock method. Second is electroporation, and so on. Yes, next is the process of the recombinant DNA technology. Okay, what happened in this technique? First, isolation of DNA. Okay, isolation of both the DNA, plasmid and or a vector, and whatever our gene of interest or the foreign DNA. Then fragmentation of both the DNA by using the restriction endonuclease, same restriction endonuclease. Okay, then select our desired DNA fragment, then ligate the both the fragment into the vector and transferring this recombinant vector into the host cell and culturing the host cells in the medium on the large scale for the extraction of our desired product. These are the some steps, these are the basic steps of the recombinant DNA technology. Yes, suppose we have our yes, we'll take the example, suppose we have to produce the human insulin on the more concentration. Okay, so we can isolate the human insulin gene from the one human, but we have to produce in a large scale. So what we have to do, we have to amplify or we have to make the more copies of this human insulin gene. So how to make the more copies of this human insulin gene? By using the PCR technique. Okay, amplification technique. PCR means polymerase chain reaction. Okay, in this reaction the multiple copies of our gene of interest, means human insulin, for example human insulin, is synthesized in vitro by using the sets of primer and the enzyme DNA polymerase. DNA polymerase means addition of nucleotide. Yes, nuclease means removal of nucleotide. Ligase means joining. Yes, these are the few enzymes which are I think you have learned in your molecular biology subject. Yes, the enzyme extended the primer using the nucleotides provided in the reaction. Yes, and here the thermostable DNA polymerase is used, because in PCR the temperature goes to above 90 degrees Celsius. So DNA polymerase it should be thermostables, and this thermostable DNA polymerase is isolated from the Thermus aquaticus organism, which can remain active during the high temperature in the denaturation process, and further it is amplified and we make the more copies of the human insulin gene, and further we clone this human insulin gene into the vector, and we go for the further steps, means transferred into the E. coli cells. In this way we can produce the bulk amount of the human insulin protein. Yes, so here the figure is given. The in PCR technique, three steps are there: denaturation, annealing, and elongation. Temperature is different. In case of denaturation means what? Separation of two strands of the DNA at the 94 to 96 degrees Celsius temperature is required over here. Initially in the mixture, what we have added, our gene of interest. Okay, suppose this green one is your human insulin gene, red one is your DNA primer, and the blue one is your nucleotide which you have to add. Yes. First is the denaturation at 94 to 96 degrees Celsius. Two strands of your gene is or DNA is separated. Then next is the annealing. Annealing means primer, joining of primer. It is done at the 60 to 66 degrees Celsius where the primer is attached, and further elongation step. Elongation step is done at the 72 degrees Celsius. In these steps, the nucleotide is added by the Taq DNA polymerase enzyme. Taq means Thermus aquaticus, and in this way, from the one copy of human insulin gene, we can produce the many more copies of the human insulin gene. Okay, we can produce the many more copies of our foreign or gene of interest. Further, that copies of gene of interest be transformed into the vector. This vector transformed into the E. coli, and E. coli further produce the insulin. Yes. So when you insert a piece of your foreign DNA into the cloning vector and transfer to the bacteria or the plant or the animal, whatever your host cell, okay, then your recombinant DNA molecule will get multiply. Yes. The main aim is what? To produce the desirable protein or the insulin. So in this way, in the bulk product, we can produce the insulin molecule. Yes. So methods of culturing means we can do it on a small scale or we can do it on a large scale by using the batch culture or the continuous culture. Batch culture means what? Only at once you have to give the medium and all that thing, cultivation and all that thing. But in a continuous culture, the fresh medium is continuously provided and the previous medium or the substrate is continuously removed. So continuous process is used for the large scale production of your desired protein. Downstream processing means what? Separation and purification of your product. Okay, so in this process you have produced the more number of the or more concentration of the human insulin protein you have produced. Okay, so you have to downstream it. Downstream means what? You have to separate it from that medium and you have to purify that human insulin for the marketing purpose. Okay, so this process includes the, yes, as I told you, separation and purification, which are collectively referred as a downstream processing. The product has to be formulated with a suitable preservative, and such a formulation has undergoes through the clinical trials in case of the drugs. Okay, it is added with the suitable preservative so that it cannot be degraded any further, and further it goes for the clinical trial. And yes, strict quality control testing is there to check the end product, and this downstream processing and quality control testing vary from the product to product. In this way we can produce the bulk amount of the human insulin or the any proteins which are necessary. Here are the few applications are enlisted. Yes, it is important in molecular diagnosis of the disease, then the gene therapy, DNA fingerprinting, production of the vaccines, and the commercial and the pharmaceutical products. These are the very few applications of the RDT. Yes, enough for this time. Thank you.